Hey, I'm Dr. Harry McCleary, and thanks for clicking on my video. At this point, you're probably wondering, why does Dr. McCleary have a gi on? Or maybe, why does Dr. McCleary wearing a bathrobe? Or better yet, maybe, why does Dr. McCleary not have a shirt on underneath? Well, the reason why is I wanted to spend some time on this video to talk to a population that's very important to me, and a population that I know is struggling right now with COVID-19 and not being able to go to their respective gyms. But before I do that, let me change into something a little bit more appropriate so you can concentrate on what I'm saying instead of what I have on. That's much better. So I wanted to start by talking a little bit about my own jiu-jitsu journey. And that started in a place called Cartersville, Georgia, at a gym called Coffee, MMA, and BJJ. And this is where I first got introduced to jiu-jitsu under a great instructor and professor, a guy named Chip Coffee, who's a black belt under Roberto Travin. And I took a lot of stuff from there. And over the years, I've gone to really countless other gyms and spent time at AKA and Pacific Rings in Oakland, California, and Boss Rutan's Elite MMA, Capital MMA, just great gyms around the country. And I've taken a little bit from each one of those gyms. And one of the reasons that I got motivated to actually do this video is because I've bounced around at so many gyms over the years. I've noticed that almost half of my social media are people that I've met from my gyms. So I was really struck by how many people have been so affected by COVID-19 and not being able to get to the gym. And I understand personally how people can say, well, jiu-jitsu saved my life, or jiu-jitsu is my life, or nothing is better than jiu-jitsu. You know, these type of statements we hear all the time. But whenever we are out of the gym, or that's injury or sickness or, you know, a case of ringworm or whatever it happens to be, we know that we can always come back, and coming back is soon on the horizon. With this, gyms being closed, there is a sense of a loss of not only being able to practice jiu-jitsu and exercise, but a loss of community. And that's really what I want to talk about. Jiu-jitsu, to a large point, is really just about relationships and trusting in relationships. You have to trust me that when you tap, I'm going to let go. And vice versa. I have to trust that you are not going to lay back on my arm and break it when I tap, or even when I don't tap. Some white belts I'm talking to right now. Everyone that has ever done jiu-jitsu can relate to this experience. And this is a analogy that I've used before with some of my patients about jiu-jitsu and relationships. So when you're a white belt and don't know a lot of moves, don't know a lot of submissions, don't know a lot of sweeps, where you feel the safest is typically in full guard. And for my people out there that don't know what full guard is and have never done jiu-jitsu, full guard is where you're laying on your back and the other person is on top and you have your legs wrapped around them, interlocked. So this is a way to kind of stall out your opponent, feel safe for a moment, and till you can figure out your next move. For a white belt, it's hard because they don't know a lot of moves, and they've probably been submitted over and over whenever they open up their guard. So this analogy I use to talk about opening up in relationships. That white belt is struggling for dear life to hold on to that full guard. Feet are cramping up, legs are cramping up. People are digging their elbows into their thighs, and they're just trying to hold on for dear life. This is also how a lot of people talk about or have relationships. They don't want to open up. They don't want to open up for possible opportunities because they're scared that they might get hurt. And this is an important analogy because we do this all the time in our lives. We want to stay safe. We want to hold on to that closed guard, even if we have some submissions. As you get better in jiu-jitsu, you start to open up your guard more. You even learn that there's more guards than just full guard. And as you progress, just like you progress in relationships, you take more chances. You recognize that there is a risk there, but there's also a reward. So what I want to do is encourage my jiu-jitsu brothers and sisters to, during this time, think about trying to open up a little bit more. And I recognize that we can't get in the gym and roll, but what we can do is get on our social media, check in on people, give them a call, and see how people are doing. And maybe we can get a little better at not just jiu-jitsu, but maybe relationships. If you found this video helpful, please share it with somebody else in the jiu-jitsu or MMA community. I know that right now we are all struggling with not being able to get to the gym and not being able to really have those relationships that we really depend on a day-to-day basis. But I do want to encourage people in our community to not just have relationships at the gym, but know that those relationships can actually get spread a lot further.